So, fun fact, when women run, their breasts bounce in a figure 8 pattern, moving side to side as well as up and down. Now that fact is mostly just useless, but I really just find it fascinating knowing the direction in which tits move. But anyways, we've got a podcast to do. Let's hit it. Welcome to Break Time on Westside, your number one break time podcast, coming to you from Nairobi, Kenya. The man on the mic is Sir Denver B. The show is Tweetstreet, the show which involves us going into a deep dive on Twitter, picking up some of the more interesting news and all sorts of other shit that happened over the past week and breaking them down for you. As usual, the man who breaks it all down for you is on the mic, Denver B himself, in case you didn't hear it the first time. To be quite honest, there is quite a bit to discuss this time. We have a bunch of sex stories and Adele, but I'm gonna save Adele for the end of this. She'll be the best for last that I want to put there. So before I get into all of the major shit, there was this tweet that was put out a couple of hours before I did the show, and it said, "Sex without attachments isn't for everyone, so don't give yourself high blood pressure. Just be that romantic that you are, please." To be very honest, it spoke to me on so many levels because I feel as though there's so many people nowadays that idolize, that celebrate the whole phase. People usually try and push this whole idea of, oh, you know, I'm going through a whole phase, oh, you know, I'm hoeing right now, I want relationships, blah, blah, blah. People have idolized and celebrated it so much, just like so many other vices that people are doing or sort of living with have been idolized. And it's getting to a stage where even people who aren't built for it are trying to do it. And to be completely honest, if you're someone that probably only wants to bang and has an emotional attachment after that, then probably the whole phase isn't for you. If you're the type of person that knows that you can separate the act from the feelings, then it probably is. But you find time and time again, there's a ton of people that will talk about how they're going into their whole phase because they're just out of a relationship, or, you know, they're enjoying being single. And I don't know, for some reason, it's like, usually, if you're in a relationship, you're either really faithful or you're cheating. And if you're single, you probably should be banging. At least that's how a lot of times it's the perception that people usually get. And yet, you can actually be single and just enjoying your own company. You can be trying to explore the better side of yourself, getting that self-love. But people usually assume that if you're single, it's like you're on this self-proclaimed whole phase, because it's either that or you're in a relationship. I want to change that, or at least I want people to change their perspective of that, because honestly, it's probably something that's a little overrated for some, and it's just not worth it for a lot of us. So if you're the type of person that knows that if you bang someone you're gonna start catching feelings, then the whole phase probably isn't for you. But if you know you are the opposite of that, then good luck. Anyways, I need to start getting into some of the raunchy shit. So last week, actually towards the end of last week, a sex tape was leaked, and it involved two people. One who's fairly well known, an events person, fairly famous events organizer in Kenya. I don't want to mention names for legal purposes and whatnot, but it did kind of cause a stir on Twitter. Now, it caused enough of a stir because one, shorty could ride. Like, I've just got to say it like that. That shorty can ride. If most of the girls that I'd ever get a chance with could ride like that, hell, I'd see myself being a super faithful person till death do us part. Not that I'm endorsing cheating or saying that I will cheat. I'm just saying, shorty looked like she was riding the business, and I honestly wish that some of her female counterparts would learn the same. Now, that being said, it's unfortunate that it is the girl, the woman, that tends to get stigmatized. Yeah, that's the word, stigmatized, whenever such a situation happens. Because for the guy, he'll continue roaming about, not unless if he performed shittily. That's the only time when you can stigmatize a guy from a sex tape. If they had a shitty performance or if they had a small dick. If anyone wants any reference to that, there was a lady who was married who had sort of a gangbang with about, 2-3 guys, and they filmed it, and it ended up circulating a bunch of WhatsApp groups in Kenya. People actually went hard on these guys and talked about how this shorty should probably look for people with bigger dicks because these people could barely perform and they had tiny ass dicks. But that aside, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the sex tape that happened. Now, this lady was sort of stigmatized or felt the stigma coming, so she deactivated all of her socials. So you can't find on IG, you can't find on Twitter, I don't think you can find on Facebook if anyone our age still uses it. So she kind of went under. And I'm gonna be super honest, she understood the repercussions because with the stigma that comes with women and sometimes men, I will say this, you probably need to be very, very careful. I personally do not agree to the recording of sex tapes, to the sending of nudes, because that just means that there's a ton of people that have your information. If anyone knows anyone, if anyone has had friends who've received nudes, you all know that shit is always shared. And for some reason, with girls, they'll share everything. With guys, at least we'll show each other the phone like, oh yeah, bro, just check this out, Bro, these tits look good, yeah? Because we're nice like that, but we won't all physically share it as like a message. I've seen shorties do that though. Now, with that being said, if at any point you want to be a politician, a priest, maybe, if you want to get a job that puts you in the public limelight, then I kid you not, a sex tape or nudes is not the best way to go. I'm just saying. Because if people want to find a good propaganda machine, they can find that shit on you. And for anyone who's been famous before, they can tell you this for a fact. The minute you get famous, people dig out every single piece of dirt on you. People will find every little thing you've tried to hide and uncover it. People will go through all of your past relationships. They will discuss everything about your life. So the more private it is, the better it is for you and whatever possible future you are looking forward to having or will have. So what I will tell you as a fact, you probably shouldn't be recording sex tapes. Because hell, it's not like you're using it for revision or correction. If she can't arch her back, she can't arch her back. Like, that's just facts. You need to tell her, you know what, just drop the lower part a little bit and raise the upper part a little bit more. Like, if she could not arch her back, if you know you can't do shit a certain way, then go through Kama Sutra, or if you're gonna record it on like a camcorder or some shit. Do it old school like Kim K. Speaking of Kim K is probably the only person that we can really talk about who made a sex tape and got famous from it. And when you look at it, Kim K's story is particularly special because for her, she's one of the very few, actually, if not the only, that actually made a sex tape and went to the top because of it. Because a ton of people tried after Kim K and they all flopped. Now, it has been suspected that Kris Jenner was actually the one who leaked that shit and used it to pump up Keeping Up with the Kardashians and shit. And by all means, that woman is mad good. Hell, Kylie Jenner is a fucking billionaire. If you're not looking at the amount of power and influence that woman has, just because of Kylie Jenner and what she's managed to build, as well as Keeping Up with the Kardashians and all of the spin-offs that have come from it, then y'all do not understand how much of a PR guru Kris Jenner is. So if you're gonna record a sex tape, keep it to yourself and don't send it around. If you're keeping it to yourself, you better keep it somewhere secure that doesn't have access to any sort of Wi-Fi or social media and all of that shit. Because if that shit starts being sent, ooh, you're fucked. And also considering the fact that it's been suspected that it's the guy, the event's organizer, who actually leaked the sex tape. Yo, if y'all have problems with the person that you recorded the sex tape with, they can fuck you up real bad. Just figured I should tell you that. Anyways, we need to move it on. Spent too much time on this topic. So, on to a dilemma that I saw on Twitter. So someone posted up a very interesting dilemma that I probably would think that anyone would want to weigh in. So it went like this. Hey man, what if she cheats to get you a job, or to get money to settle your hospital bill, or to get cash for your bail? That is, she gets laid for it, and she tells you about it and that it was her last option. What will you do? Now, I'm not gonna lie, I went through the comments, and the comments did bring out a two-sided sort of argument to this. And I think everyone's right and wrong for pretty much all of the same reasons. So some people are like, yes, she's a ride or die, so I'd probably continue being with her this is someone I know who will do anything for me. And yes, you're probably right. But you don't know if she probably likes getting outside dick now after that. And then she probably starts cheating on you and shit. I won't make it look like someone that's given up that much for you can probably cheat on you. Some people went in and they were like, you know what, nah. The minute you choose to give up your dignity and sleep with someone, no matter what it is that you're trying to get, you pretty much have just crossed a line that you can't go back on. So no, I'm not taking you back, I'm ditching you. And by all means, a ton of guys are actually saying this. And I was thinking about it like this. If you as a guy are trying to be with someone, because a lot of us nowadays, we don't trust each other. And I'm planning on doing an episode on anonymity and honesty and shit. And the fact that people can't trust each other. People can't be honest with each other. Nowadays, you don't know what angle someone's playing. So if someone's willing to do that much for you, then doesn't that mean that they are actually worth it? Doesn't that mean that they are worth forgiving? And it does bring a very interesting point of concern, because this is someone who genuinely cared for you. But now, if I was to give like my own honest side of it, firstly, getting cash for my bail, considering the Kenya police, considering the current situation of the policing and prison and shit, you know what? I would rather go to fucking jail or a cell than you sleeping with someone for me to actually get bail. Not unless if it's life imprisonment. Then maybe I can reconsider. But if it's bail, I'd rather go to a fucking cell and deal with the fuckers that are there, because you know what? I can live through that shit. If it's for a hospital bill or to get me a job, it's probably fine. But firstly, why the fuck are you telling me this? Because that just puts me in an awkward position. Rather, if you did it and then you said that, you've done a lot for me, you've done some shit that you're probably not proud of that you won't tell me, I can understand. Because I believe that everyone deserves their own right to keep one or two secrets. But why the fuck are you telling me this? It puts me in a position where, as much as I'll still love you and care about you, if I choose to continue being with you, there'll still be something hanging over my head. Because if I choose to break up with you, it'll be like after everything I did for you. And we all hate that term. We all hate that statement when it's being told to us. After everything I did for you. But the way I see it, would I really dump or continue being with this girl? To be honest, I probably would dump her if she cheated on the whole bail story. But if it's for a hospital bill, I'll stay with her. But there's a good chance we might not even stay that long for us to enjoy the entire ride or die experience. Now, on to Adele. So Adele, the singer Adele, the really, really famous Grammy-nominated, mad thick but lost weight Adele, was going through a divorce, and when the results came in and the divorce settlement was decided, apparently it came out that she's the one who's giving half, or 2/3 I'm hearing. She was the one who was supposed to give half. Some people are saying 120, 140 million, and the problem is people are still fucking up with the currency, and they're saying that it's in dollars, some people are saying it's in pounds, and I'm not gonna try and act like I know everything, but can people start getting it right with these currencies? I'm gonna assume, because it was in an LA court, it was in dollars. So about 120, 140 mil dollars. And as much as it's still under speculation, people went mad on Twitter. Because feminists were like, no, this is unfair. How dare the court system do this to a woman? And a bunch of guys were like, yes, finally. This is equality at its peak. This is what equality looks like. Finally, you guys get to know what it feels like when you work so hard to build yourself and then someone ends up leaving with half of your shit just because you happen to be married. Like, I've tried to tell people, guys, time and time again, nowadays it's getting harder and harder for a guy to actually want to be married, besides for cultural reasons and so on, because there's nothing that's enticing us to get married anymore. Or at least if there is, it's very, very minimal. Because if it's a kid, you can get a kid out of wedlock. Nowadays, it seems like it's becoming a norm. If it's banging, people have been fornicating since time immemorial. If it's having a fairly chill lifestyle, women are constantly being shown on the internet to be annoying to their boyfriends, husbands, and so on, and vice versa. And when you look at it one way or another, this is equality. I'm gonna side with the Twitter men. This is equality at its work, because as a certain YouTuber called Eric Preach of the channel Abba and Preach says, or should I say said, marriage for a guy is pretty much like saying that, you know what, I'm gonna bet you half of all of my shit that we're gonna stay together forever. And it's a very, very hard gamble to make, especially the way people know how to switch up. There's more people that can pretend, there's less trustworthy people. Honesty is not something that's been going around of late, and you don't know the reasons why someone wants to get married to you, to be quite honest, because there's people that want to get in it for the money. So it's gonna become hard for a guy to say that he wants to get married right now, but at least now that Adele has gone through it, she can probably empathize with us, and probably, she'll have more content for her next upcoming album. And last I had heard, she was dating Skepta, so no matter how much they might love each other right now, this man ain't gonna get married to that woman anytime soon, considering all the money she's lost. But the way I see it, it's equality. It's just simple equality that's having its fill, but it just happened to hit a woman. Because all sorts of people have come and complained that, behind every successful man there's a woman, of which whenever I choose to agree, I'll be like, yes, that's true, and that woman is their mother. For any person that says, there's usually that kind of input that the woman gives that you can't really quantify, that you can't really see. Now, I can probably give that same exact analogy. The only thing is, with this one we can actually see. 21 was one of Adele's most famous. Actually, in my opinion, I think 21 was her best album. And I think it's the one that sold the most. I'm not sure about 25, I didn't check the figures that well. But I think 21 was probably one of her best albums. And what was it about? The entire breakup, the whole leaving, the entire situation that they had with the whole breakup and the going through the divorce and shit. And when you look at it, it brought her money. So he pretty much contributed to her making money. Now, if you look at some of the unforeseen shit, she's lost a bunch of weight. Not that I had a problem with her being a little bit thick here and there, but she went and got herself a bit of a revenge body. She's released 25, which had Hello from the Other Side, which happened to be probably one of the more famous songs from that album. And this man actually did contribute to a good chunk of her success. So by all means, he probably does deserve that money. But as far as that goes, we should probably know that a lot of this is under speculation, and even though he's supposed to receive that, it doesn't mean that he'll get it all as like one chunk. He might get like a monthly payment of, as someone on Twitter was calculating, about 3.9 million, or he might get access to some assets here and there. Just sort of the same way with the whole Bezos situation. Mackenzie Bezos got a couple of million shares from Amazon, which shot her wealth to 38.3 billion. Now, if you're looking at it that way, damn, that woman is the one who actually made a proper killing. Adele's husband didn't even make a killing that big. That woman just became one of the richest women on planet Earth, and that's just number 2 after Walton's kid. But anyways, I want to know what you guys think about that situation. You can hit me up on the IG at Breaktime on Westside, or you can hit me up on Twitter at Bagaka. The D, the B, and the D are silent. I will see you guys later.